Happy Sunday, happy Sunday, happy Sunday. 4 o'clock, nice and early. We're not doing a late one today, so I'm pretty sure we should get more people the opportunity to view uh, right away. Um, so I'm going to get right into it because we are recapping the last 2 weeks. Weeks 32 and 33. 32 and 33. So as always, I like to jump right into the numbers because, as I always tell everybody, if you're new here, one, please like and subscribe to G's 101. If you are new here, I think that I give out some very good, informative content for those on the GLP-1 journey. I have been on my journey for 33 weeks now, and I'm here every Sunday doing my weekly updates. As we have gotten farther into the journey, sometimes I do recap 2 weeks at a time versus one. So I want to get right into it because we have a lot to talk about today. I'll start with week 32. So in week 32, I basically lost 2.3 pounds. So basically, I was 240.6, and I'm actually 240.6 right now, which is in week 33. So I did not lose weight this week. I stayed the same. Now, I hesitate to call it a stall because I'm actually losing, if we were to go weekly, a half a pound a week. 2.3 pounds for the month is basically half a pound a week. But it's not coming off in that manner. So what's happening is what I thought it might happen. I pretty much lose I kind of stall for 2 weeks and then I have a loss. Then I stall for 2 weeks and then I have a loss. And that's what's actually been happening for the entire duration of August. So I've just lost 2.3 pounds this month. But I guess I can't say just because some people actually do lose half a pound a week regularly. So I'm not going to complain about that. There is a caveat though, and I'll tell you what that is. Obviously, for me, that seems like very, very low because I'm a person that's been losing just about 3 pounds a week throughout my journey. I've never gained. I've lost every single week. Let me say this. I've stayed the same a few times within this current month. But I want to say probably about 28 weeks through, I lost every single week. Okay, but now in my tomorrow makes my 8th month. But now in my 7th month, since I'm reflecting on the 7th month, I've seen it where I don't lose 2 weeks, then I do a decent loss, and then I don't lose another 2 weeks. So I should explain though. In June, I was on the 10 and I titrated back down to 7.5. So I'm absolutely confident that had I remained on the 10 for the last 2 months, I'd probably be about 12 to 15 pounds farther than I am right now. Maybe 10 to 15, and I'll explain that. So I lost 80 pounds so far, right? That's 25% of my body weight, which is huge, huge. My goal is 100, right? That was my goal. But that was to be done in 11 months to a year. I always said that I wanted to lose that in 11 months to a year because that's safe weight loss. If it came off sooner, great. Now, had I stayed on the same trajectory the entire time, it probably would take me 9 months, 10 or maybe 10 months to lose the 100 pounds. But it's not a race. We're not in a race. We just, we like to do things in the proper format, safe and healthy. So I would say, or I should say, that I do have I have an appointment with my primary on this coming Thursday. So therefore, I am going to talk to her about that, and I think I want to go back to 10 and see if I can go ahead and muscle through that for a couple of months. The rest of September and October, and see if that kind of takes some of helps me to get rolling. Now, I shouldn't say help me to get rolling because I'm still rolling. To be 80 pounds down and losing a tremendous amount of inches. Because like I said, I'm in a 38. I used to be in a 42, 44, depending on the type of pants. Technically, I probably could be in a 36 because my belt's pretty tight. You know what I mean? So I'm probably more like a 36, honestly. And as far as shirts, it depends on the maker, right? So I wear different brands: Polo, True Religion, my dress shirts. Polo shirts and polo clothing in general are a little bit larger. So my size is a little bit smaller. So I'm probably about an extra large in a shirt in polo. True Religion, which I also wear, oftentimes has clothes that are fitted. Their clothes are fitted. So with them being fitted, I can still wear 2X, sometimes a 3 because depending on the shirt, because they're fitted shirts, right? So with them fitting, but that's not my true size. My true size is like my undershirts, right? My undershirts are all extra large. So if that make sense, I'm probably about an extra large, now at 240, some 2Xs, depending on whether it fits, how it fits. So that's huge because I was wearing, in like a really, really tight fitted shirt, I could wear a 4X at one point, when I was way up there in the 300s, 300, 320, but in generally I would wear a 3X. I would wear a 3X and a lot of stuff, and then polo a 2X, right? A 2X big. So now being a true extra large, I want to say, I think is a big deal, So I'm not complaining at all. I think I've come a lot farther than I seen myself coming in January. Well, January 5th when I started this. I didn't know what to expect, honestly. When I first started in January, I had no idea what the heck was going to happen. I just said, hey, let me see what, stick myself with this and see what, I really kind of underestimated it, honestly. I felt like I should lose, but I didn't know, you know what I mean? So I went into it like kind of a little haphazardly, and in January I didn't take, my measurements like I probably should have. I did weigh myself a couple of times, but I wasn't serious. And it wasn't my birthday month coming out of the holidays, so I was still eating bad and things of that nature. So, but I lost 15 pounds, so that was a really, really, really good month. But fast forward back to current day. So there's a caveat though to this 2.3 pounds in the month of August, right? The caveat to it is, number one, it's still on 7.5. When if I was actually on 10, I'm absolutely certain I probably would have lost 90 some odd pounds at this point, not 80. And I've had a lot of issues with my feet and ankles, right? Because if you go back and watch some of my earlier videos, you'll see where I talk about my osteoarthritis, in the big toe on each foot, which just simply means that, I have pain in those because it's kind of bone on bone because the cartilage has worn away, right? So that can be painful. So I was supposed to get surgery on my right toe, but unfortunately I can't because my left ankle has, I want to say my left foot has a tendon injury. So, and what I mean by injury is badly, badly bruised. It's not to the point where it's, it didn't pop or, anything like that, thank God, but it definitely is very badly bruised. So I have a air boot on that foot, and it prohibits me from doing the workouts that I like. Let me just say that, because I don't want to say you can't work out, because you can work out, but I can't work out doing what I feel like is most effective for me personally. Everybody know I'm a proponent of the squats because I feel like it gets the cardio going, and the muscle building, of those larger muscle groups, and part of that kind of played into, I think, my tendon in that foot being injured. What I've done, the working out I've done across all of these months, because I've resistance trained along with, I do all the things, take my shot, eat well, and resistance train, right? So in resistance training, this is what happened. But sometimes that happens in, the world of obesity, right? So that is what I'm dealing with. It's very, very, I want to say frustrating dealing with foot and ankle issues when you're, on a weight loss, I want to say a weight loss lifestyle. Because I'm trying to get away from journey because I think everybody has to understand that this is your life, right? It's your life. This is not something that you're going to just do and be done, right? It's forever. It's who you are now, and it makes sense. You know, you want to enjoy your life at the same time, but you have to, you know, understand that the reality is this is something that you're going to do, you know, from here on out, because you suffer from well, you may. I mean, not everybody that takes GLP-1s does, but I'll speak for myself, suffer from obesity. I am not a physician, so I should say that. So anything I say here is just based on my experience, and I'm just sharing it with you, you know, just to help you along in your lifestyle changes, right? So yeah, I mean, that is the difficulty that I'm really faced with right now. It's hard for me to say that even 7.5 is not doing this thing, because I think it is, but I'm not able to do the resistance training at the rate that I was doing it before, which slows everything down, right? I can do chair exercises. Don't really like them though. I don't really like them. And that's not because they're not effective, because they are. I think I was probably more sore doing that because I'm probably working some muscles that I'm not just being in that chair utilizing it. So I actually think I challenge everybody watching this video to go pull up a chair exercise on YouTube and knock it out and see what you know, come back in the comments and let me know how you feel it went, because them chair exercises ain't no joke, you know what I mean? Because you actually kind of working out and utilizing your muscles in a way that you probably don't normally. You normally standing or laying, you know, doing certain things. So, but yeah, I mean, that's my frustration right now, is the fact that I have to alter how it is that I work out because of my feet and ankle. So it's ultra frustrating because, I mean, like I said, I'm certain I would be over 90 pounds lost at this time if I was able to work out the same exact way, you know, and get, you know, closer to that goal. But the only thing that's really important is that I am still going to get there. You know, I am still going to get to that goal. My goal is, technically my goal is 210. I want to say that. I'm going to stop saying my initial goal was 220, right? At the very start of the journey. When I was 320, I said, hey, I lose 100 pounds, I'll be 220, you know, life change, and I'm out of obesity. Technically, just learning and going along the journey, I know you need room for maintenance, right? And it was to put me out of obesity, because I didn't want to be obese. You know, overweight I'm okay with, but I don't want to be obese. So me being under 220 would put me there. So that's 100 pounds. So me being 210 actually gives me room for maintenance. So that's why I tell people now my goal is 210, right? And that's just 30 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, I've lost 80, so, you know I can lose 30 more. I'm certain of it. I'm certain of it. And, you know, I'm going to put the work in to do so. It's just that it has to be a slower route because of what happened with my foot and ankle, you know. Now, obviously, listening to one of the doctors that came on one of the channels, they said that the ideal or optimal BMI, you know, if you want to use that just for a loose basis, right? Because I'm not a proponent of that system, so to speak, totally, because it doesn't take into account, you know, your type of bone, you know, whether it's not able to take into, you know, whether you have dense bones or, like, you know, you're very light. So if you have dense or heavier bones, your BMI, you know, and your muscle, and you carry, you know, weight a certain way, you know, you actually need a little more space, you know, than the traditional pattern. I mean, the traditional graph. But it's still a good wheelhouse. It's a good wheelhouse to use. So if you want to go by that, the actual optimal number you probably want to look for is 27, right? 27. So I would need to be 200 pounds. Well, 199, right? I'm 6 foot tall, so I need to be like 199 in order to see that optimal BMI, right? So I have no plans on being in Wonderland at all. I'm not mad if it happens, you know, if I end up 199, I don't know. Because who knows, you know, all you can do is, like I always say, take the pen and it's gonna, you know, do all of the things and it's gonna lead you where it leads you, right? So that could happen. I could end up at 199, you know, that would put me 121 pounds down, you know. Well, I was 319.6, so 120 pounds basically, you know, 120 pounds down, you know, and that's just 40 pounds from where I'm at, you know, that's just 40 pounds from where I'm at to get there. I don't know if I'll lose 40 pounds, but I'll tell you this, I'm going to fight like hell to lose 20. That's for sure. Because I definitely want to make my first initial goal, and that's to be under that 220. But if I'm able to lose, 20 beyond that, then so be it, right? But I just wanted to, cue in the details on why, I was sitting at that 2.3 for the month of August, and that's because I didn't titrate up to 10, and I basically wasn't able to work out because of injury, So, and it's going to be a few months to take care of the injury that I have with the bruised tendon, because there's nothing to do for it other than get a cortisone shot for the pain, which I already received, and to just give it time and rest. So I won't, be at work for a while, just trying to heal, because ultimately, like I said, I wanted the surgery on the other foot because that toe was causing me a lot of issue. So prayerfully, I can get through. This heal. I return to work, and then in the coming year, I can actually have the surgery on that toe on the other foot. At least that's my plan. So, but yeah, there's that. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the weight. 25% of my weight is gone. Which is, like I said, retatrutide, which is not even out yet, won't be out till next year's claim, to get you in 48 weeks. So, and that's the most powerful, weight loss drug we've seen. So obviously people are trying, using it on the, I like to call it the gray market. They're already using it. So we've seen, some things, but I'm talking about the real deal, authentic, right? Because just like people being on compound or onto tirzepatide and then going to Zepbound, I always hear that when they go to brand, it's a bit different. So, I believe it. I think brand is probably a bit different. It probably could be possibly a bit, stronger, So yeah, to be able to lose 25%, which is what Retta claims in 48 weeks, and to do it in less than 30, because I've been here for weeks now, but less than 30, man, that's something to really celebrate and talk about, even though I'm not done, that's still something to do that in that period of time. Like I said, I don't have any other, no weight loss surgery or anything like that. It's just straight needle and discipline, just doing all of the things, you know what I mean? Getting your protein and what have you. People do know I do fast. I'm definitely a proponent of fasting. There's a lot said about that back and forth, but I will say I eat twice a day, generally, because I don't eat breakfast. That's pretty much what it is. And I kind of start late in the day, usually around 2 most of the time, and I end early, probably around 7, right? So that puts me in like a 5-hour, sometimes a 6-hour window if I go to 8. You know what I'm saying? If I go past 8, it's really, really rare. Every now and then, like a weekend, I might go to 8:30 or something like that, but that's it. And generally, I usually start around 2, but every now and then, I might start at 1. It happens. So I'm anywhere from a 5 to 6 hour window most of the time, I know some people say, well, I'm a faster too because I start at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. But, like I said, I start at 2. And a lot of people say that, but I'm not sure they do it consistently. This is my everyday. I do that every day, except for maybe Sunday. Sunday when I'm home, my family, we do, my son or, my son's 14, but he can really cook. So he'll make like breakfast, or my wife, like they'll make breakfast, and he likes to cook, so he'll offer everybody, or either my wife, they'll say, hey, on a Sunday, and we'll eat, some breakfast. But that's it. That's just like doing family. But throughout the week, it's the same thing for me. Same thing. 6 days a week, I'm actually, in that fasting window. So I hear a lot of people say, well, in the fasting thing, you could be, in trouble because you might only be getting 700-800 calories. Not me. I get all my calories in my meal. You know why? Because I eat high quality foods, and I actually get good protein, whether it's a full ribeye steak, whether it's salmon, whether it's my red snapper, whether it's the chicken. I eat chicken more than anything, the roasted chicken, and then, baked chicken, the most, I would say the most. But I have a specific amount to make sure that I'm getting enough calories. You know, I mean, the least calories I probably get is probably around 13. Some days I will have a 1,300 calorie, but for the most part, no, I'm getting about 1,800, 15 to 1,800 calories all the time. All the time, you know, 15 to 1,800 all the time. And that's with my 2 meals. That's with my 2 meals. And and on a rare occasion, once or twice a week, I do muscle milk for lunch because it may be busy, you know, at work or whatever. And I don't do it as much because I feel like it holds on to weight. You know, I've noticed that because when I first started it and I was doing it like three days a week, I noticed it was harder to lose weight, you know. So now, like I said, with me not being able to work out as much, I don't want to like hold on to weight. And the reason why I'm saying is because I get the 40 grams of protein ones, which are a meal replacement, right? So that's almost 300 calories. So it's 40 grams of protein in one shot, along with you know, the calories. So, you know, I'm certain I get my protein because my meals are all the same. I'm telling you, I'm like, if you ever seen the movie Groundhog Day, right? I do the same thing. So I'm not concerned about counting calories because I know exactly what's on my plate. And I know those plates harbor enough, more than enough calories for me. So this is why I post things like the scale, showing that my protein has steadily increased, right? The Smart Scale, because I started at like a 12. Now I'm above a 15, you know, and this is in the last 8 months. You know what I mean? Like that I've been that way for several months now, but it showed the increase. Cause right, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So I'm not, you know, someone that would, you know, tell you, you know, a story. I actually am, you know, doing the things. I get enough protein, being a faster, eating a couple times a day. It doesn't put you in the, you know, I'm eating 700-800 calories. Those are only people that are not eating the right meals for the 2 meals a day. You're not eating the right stuff. If you eat the right stuff, you will actually get your calories in. So that's all it is, you know. So fasting works. I'm a big proponent. I love it. And I'm gonna keep doing it, and it's working for me, you know, right? I'm an example of what it can be. Very healthy. I went over my lab work when I got it, turned all my markers around. I mean, amazing. Like, I'm talking about my glucose was like if you put it in the terms of, it was like a 4.8 or 4.9. Like it was, nowhere near, you know what I mean? And I never was one that was pre-diabetic, but you know, just seeing it go in that direction, you know, along with my cholesterol, just amazing. Now my hypertension, even with that, that's what I want to talk about, because my hypertension is usually like 118, 119, 120 over 80, 81, 82, 83 most of the time. 120 over that. So it's very, 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 very close to, you know, what you want it to be. You know, somewhere at my, you know, my size and weight, compared to what it used to be. Because I used to be somebody that would read years ago, before it was controlled, probably like 180 over 110. That has happened, which is like crisis mode, before I was actually taking medication for it. And then when I start taking like one medication, it was like 160 over 100 regularly, you know, even with lower weight. And now it's where it is, you know, with the addition of the Zepbound and the weight loss. But the thing is, why I'm going to see my primary is because that water pill, because I do take a water pill, which is a diuretic. I think it's leading to gout in my big toe, because I've had that, you know, a couple of times. I had never had it in my life, but I've been taking a water pill for so long. You know, I've been taking that for so many years. What we call it a water pill is actually called hydrochlorothiazide, right? So it's a dull acting, blood pressure reducing, also diuretic, you know, whereas with Zepbound, I'm not seeing the need or the risk of continuing to take that with the weight loss and where my blood pressure has been. I also take amlodipine, and I'm going to keep taking that. That's something that you don't, you know, I don't, you know, I'm not sure, you know, about come off of. I'm going to continue that. That is something that, you know, I'm going to, you know, continue to have, you know, until my blood pressure gets lower. Now the blood pressure can go lower. If it does go lower, then I could consider it. I don't know if I'm ever going to be a person to not take blood pressure at all. But hey, who knows? I lose another 30 pounds. It's a possibility, but I'm not sure because of how high my blood pressure used to be. You know, like I said, the highest reading I ever had was like 180, 185 over like 110. You know what I mean? Which is like crisis mode. You know, obviously I reacted to it when I saw that that was the issue, but it's definitely not, you know, something that I know if I'm going to be able to come off of or not. I'm not 100% certain about that, you know, but we'll see, you know, as I continue to lose weight and then using Zepbound. And that's why I also feel like I'm a Zepbound lifer. I don't see myself coming off of Zepbound, because it's not about just weight loss with me. It's about so many other things, you know, that cholesterol, the hypertension, you know, the inflammation, all of that. You know, it's really, really important for other things. It's not just weight loss. And that's why I understand people of a lighter weight using it, right? Because I do want to address this before I go. I've never had an issue with anyone of a smaller frame being on medications if they indicated medically for some reason for it. Now, if they're only on it just for weight loss, right? Maybe that might be a different conversation. I don't know. But again, hey, to each his own. But I will say, anything initially that came up about that would have just simply been me saying in regards to being a clinically obese individual, right? Clinically obese individual and someone that is not even overweight. You know what I mean? Like guiding someone that's clinically obese. That's pretty hard to do because you're just in two different worlds. You know what I mean? I guess if I put weight to it, what I'm saying is, if you're somebody that got 25 pounds to lose or 30 pounds to lose, it's kind of hard to tell somebody that got 200 pounds, you know what I'm saying? Like what it is, you know, that, you know, you can give your opinion, but, you know, it should be, you know, given lightly, you know what I mean? Because you just don't understand their personal journey. That's all it was, you know, that's all that just to clarify, like that was the only thing that I had ever probably mentioned, you know, is that it's hard to do for you to tell that person, you know, and you have, you know, 30 pounds to lose, you know, you're, you know, 145, you know what I mean? You're starting with this 145 and you're trying to get to 120, you know what I mean? Like, you know, out on 115 and what I'm saying at 5'5", let's just say, that's not even overweight. You know what I mean? Like, you're starting out at a 24 and a half and probably ending up at like an 18, you know? So you actually kind of going underweight, which is another conversation. So, you know, again, like I don't want to get in the weeds, but that's the only thing I meant by what I mean by, you know, someone taking it that has, you know, and it wasn't about 50 pounds or less. It was about if you had less than 30 to lose, 30 pounds or less, you know, someone with 30 pounds or less. Because if someone is 180 or 90 pounds and they lose 50 pounds, oh, by all means, I'm all with it, you know, because yes, that could be, depending on your height, it could be overweight or obesity. But somebody that's 5'5", 5'6", you know, that's already in the 140, you know what I mean? Like, you're not even overweight. You're at a healthy weight, and you're actually losing more weight for another reason, which again, I'm not opposed to it if you have a medical indication, right? Or if it's just your business. But all I'm saying is you shouldn't have strong opinions about individuals that's clinically obese doing whatever it is that it takes for them to lose, in some cases, hundreds of pounds. It's a whole different world. It's a whole different world, you know. That's it. That's all. That just to completely clarify that. And that was so long ago when that conversation came up, but I just hear it sometimes in the comments and things like that. And, you know, because we still have people out here that's still stuck on old stuff, you know, but I really would be nice if they move on and just like, you know, pay attention to like the whole story and, you know, go back and see my whole story and then maybe understand me a little bit better. That I'm all for everybody. You know, I would like to see everybody win and everybody lose amazing, you know, amounts of weight and be healthy. I'm not one to worry about other people's journeys and throw shots at them at all. But if you throw opinions, you know, in my comments about what I'm saying, and I'm talking about clinically obese people, because hey, I'm all about obesity warriors, you know, which people know my cliche, and that's who I'm talking to on my journey. I'm talking to obese people that's fighting to get to a healthy weight, overweight or healthy weight, you know, wherever they desire, you know, not people that are at a normal weight losing more weight for other reasons, because that's a whole different journey, just in my opinion. So, there's that. But yeah, so I mean, we're going to pretty much end it here. I don't want to make it a super duper long video. I do got some things coming up. I am scheduled for a downsize interview September 28th, 4 p.m. So I don't know if they air it when we have it, or, it might not be live, but that's happening because I think it's time. I have a lot of information that I feel like I can help other people, especially men, especially multicultural men. I don't like to just say black, because there's men of different cultures that I feel like aren't as exposed to the medication that should be. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of Caucasian women. They're the biggest amount of individuals in the studies, and that usually are on it, that are non-diabetics. I'm not talking about diabetics. You have a lot of diabetic individuals. I'm saying non-diabetic, type 2 diabetic individuals that are on the medication. They're largely Caucasian women of a certain age. So their significant others, their households are exposed to it. Whereas in our communities, those that are multicultural, not just black, but multicultural, whatever that is, Spanish, whatever, Spanish, Asian, whatever, they might not be as exposed, and I want those, and especially men, because men are apprehensive. We have a lot of guys in the shadows that's, thinking about it, but not taking a leap. So I say take the leap, get all the testing that it is that you need to get, and take the leap to lose the weight and get healthy. I'm going to schedule my my screenings for colon cancer and every other cancer that's available to me in this coming new year, because I'll be 45 in January. So in February, March, it's probably when I want to get all my testing done for those things, because I think it's a responsible thing to do. Lose the weight, work out where you can, eat well, and then get all your testing. So if there's anything there, you have a time to react to it while it's not too far gone. So there's that. That is our recap for weeks. Oh, and I don't want to forget, Round Mountain Zepbound, he also has a healthy mentality, and he mentioned, I haven't spoken to him since the live we talked about it on, but I did see him and Paul, and shout out to them. I didn't get a chance to comment, but I did watch a good deal of it earlier. Good job, fellas, man. That's major. I mean, shout out to RMZ, just being, like I said, like I call him the GOAT. I big him up all the time, because I feel like he kind of like inspired a lot of dudes to actually like take the leap, and that's the same thing, that I'm trying to continue. And I like him starting this, because it gives us more of a conversation. Because, I mean, obviously we have a lot of women, all over YouTube doing this, but the guys need that space too. And that's not to say women aren't welcome in the space with the guys, because they are. I hope they do come. I hope they go over to his. I hope they come over to mine. But I'm saying the guys need conversation and a space too, because they matter and exist. Because a lot of times you hear YouTube channels, and even the acronyms and things, they say, hey girl, or hey, there's always a woman's acronym, because they know it's primarily women. You know what I mean? So I get it. But, guys need that, need that too, because there's guys sitting right there, and some are in their families, you know what I mean? So I try to speak to them to make them more comfortable and not be in the shadows. I did share my YouTube to my personal regular Instagram, and Facebook, my regular social media. So, I mean, people, because at first I didn't, because just the ignorance and the questions from a lot of people, I didn't feel like it, but now I really don't care. You know what I mean? It doesn't bother me. I mean, anybody that want to hear about it can hear about it. I don't go in the streets and people ask me like, hey, what you doing? I'm like, I'm Zepbound. I don't do that, because I think Zepbound is just one tool. It's the most important tool, I think, because it actually opens the door for a lot of things, but it's not the tool, not the only tool. You know what I mean? It's not the most important one, but that's the one they're going to place all the importance on, because you do a lot of things. It takes a lot of, consistency to get, and that's the key right there, consistency. If you do everything consistently, you're going to get where you want to be. But that's why I didn't share it at first, but no, I shared it, and I said, hey, whoever want to learn about it, come on over, So everybody already noticed, like everybody, me, I'm losing 80 pounds, it's very noticeable, and everybody noticed all my pictures and everything like that. So, and I share a lot of before and afters. So, yeah, so there's that. And I am going to start going live sometimes, because I did mention it in Vanity live the other night, and they said that they want me to do it. So while I do have some time off work, I'm going to try to go live sometime, and have some open discussions, because I think they are beneficial for sure. All right, so this is the longest video I've ever done. So I set a new record, and I don't want to make it any longer. I know I could, but this is why I would turn to lives and stream, because it's okay to have a stream an hour, but I'm not sure people are going to want to watch 35-minute videos, right? All right, so there's that. And like I always, in all of my videos, Obesity Warriors, stand up. We're in it together. Later.